Well, welcome everybody. My name is Melinda Escobar. I'm an associate with Civitas Strategies, and I'm excited to be your facilitator for this presentation. First, I'd like to cover a few housekeeping items. We're going to be addressing all the questions at the end of the presentation, so please hold on to your thoughts until then. The session is being recorded in two different breakout rooms, both in English and Spanish, to ensure accessibility for all our participants. And then to help streamline this process, please post your questions in the chat to review when we get to the questions portion of the presentation. Now I'm going to, let me see, that's already been trying, it's already in the open room, so you should be ready for that, for the presentation. Before I get started, the information, I do have to read this disclaimer, the information contained has been prepared by Civitas Strategies and is not intended to constitute legal, tax, or financial advice. The Civitas Strategies team has used reasonable efforts in collecting, preparing, and providing this information, but does not guarantee its accuracy, completeness, adequacy, or currency. The publication and distribution of this information is not intended to create, and receipt does not constitute an attorney-client or any other advisory relationship. Reproduction of this information and recording of this content, including the use of AI, are expressly prohibited. Only non-commercial use of this work are permitted. All right, here we go. In today's presentation, we're going to discuss why you as a childcare business should have a business plan and what that plan should include. We're going to go over how you can assess your current needs as a childcare business, talk about SWOT, which is the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats that may exist within your business, and how a SWOT analysis can support you in building your business plan. Lastly, we're going to go over potential goals for your childcare business, and we're going to talk about the components that should be included in the goals to ensure that they are SMART goals, which is another acronym, and we'll go over that a little bit later. The business plan here is a slimmed down version that can be easy to update and use each year. It's designed to concisely communicate your goals, and it's driven by your current realities. It's kind of like a roadmap, right? So it's best suited for family childcare providers or smaller centers. Larger childcare businesses or those that are opening a new location or business will likely find that a strategic plan or a more extensive business plan will be more valuable. Just like any other business venture, every childcare center needs a comprehensive business plan. This is vital. This is a vital document that serves as your roadmap, clearly outlining what your childcare business aims to accomplish while guiding you through the three essential phases: planning, preparation, and operations. Running a childcare center is more than just caring for children. It's also about creating a sustainable business that can continue serving families for years to come. So your business plan ensures you're building on a solid foundation. Here's why this matters so much in our field. Many of you may dream of expanding your services, whether that means like adding some more classrooms, opening new locations, or introducing innovative programs. When that time comes, you'll likely need to secure funding through loans or grants. This is where your business plan becomes invaluable and demonstrates to potential investors and lenders that you're not just passionate about childcare, but that you're also a serious business owner with a clear vision and strategy for success. Think of your business plan as both a mirror and a telescope. As a mirror, it's going to reflect where your business currently stands, what your strengths are, what your resources are, and your current operations. As a telescope, it shows you where you're headed, what your goals are, what the growth strategies are going to be, and plans for long-term sustainability. This dual perspective is exactly what investors and lenders need to see to feel confident in supporting your vision. In the development of your business plan, there are 4 components that we feel are necessary to include to get started. The first is going to be your value proposition. Your value proposition is simply answering the question, why you? Your value proposition can be important because it reminds you of why children and families love your service. Assessment of your current situation is the next. You want to take a comprehensive look at your business performance and feedback. That's going to help you understand what your needs are and how you can prepare for the future. A SWOT analysis is taking a deeper look at those strengths, weaknesses, your opportunities, and the threats that face your business. Through the SWOT analysis, you will divide your data into 4 quadrants, whether a factor is a positive or if it's a negative, and whether it's about the present or the future. So use this information to build a plan. Doing the first 3 steps, it gives you an outline for what your plan is going to look like. All of the information taken from these will be included in the plan, and it gives you and your investors a look at how you plan to operate and sustain your childcare business. Okay, so let's look at the first step, which is to state your value proposition. Your value proposition is simply answering the question, like we said, why you? You can think about the past years and the feedback you've received that demonstrates why families and children love your program. If you have employees of any kind, think about what you do to ensure that they remain happy and stay with your business and how you attract new people as needed. Your value proposition can be important because it's going to remind you of why children and families love your service. This is important for you to keep in mind as the business owner and to use as you talk to other families. It's going to give you a concise reminder of what you do in your business. Value propositions help frame some of the important business decisions that you will make, such as how you're going to set your rates, how you're going to attract your top talent, and how you're going to promote your services to enroll more families. You could write pages and pages about these ideas, but in this case, we recommend that you use a very simple format to create your value proposition. Specifically, we'd like to answer 3 questions. Okay. The first question, where do you serve your families and children? This could be in your neighborhood or in your city. Perhaps your reach is wider. Maybe it's across a county or a region. What are the age groups that you serve? Do you serve infants and older, or maybe only preschoolers? What about school-age children? What is it that parents, children, staff, or volunteers love most about your business? What is it that makes them come back? This might be you personally. A lot of times people will say it's the family care provider or the director of a small center that they come back for. It could be your location, maybe the proximity to transportation. There's a whole bunch of reasons that they could feel comfortable. There's no good or bad answer to this. If you feel like you're not sure, then don't hesitate to ask some parents. It never hurts to say that you're planning to further improve the services they're receiving and would like their feedback. Really simply, this could be a conversation at pickup where you say like, "Hey, mom, I'm working on how we improve our services this year. I'm just curious, what do you like most about having little Johnny here with us? What is little Johnny like most? Is there anything you wish we could do better? If you'd had your child at other centers, um, if you've had your child at another center or another program, why did you come to us? What did we do? Why did you choose us? What did we do better than that?" When running a group childcare center, you have 2 effective options for gathering feedback. First, consider distributing anonymous surveys that are intentionally brief. That's going to encourage participation. Another way is by placing like a comment box and in an accessible location where it gives families and all the staff an ongoing way to share their thoughts. Both methods should focus on understanding your program's quality, how it communicates effectively, and then other ideas for improvement. For a family child care provider, the approach can be more personal. You could schedule a brief casual interview with your families during convenient times like drop off or pickup. And then these conversations should feel natural while still gathering some specific insights about your program. After these discussions, take time to document the key points you've learned to inform your future planning. Now, your stakeholders, who are the families, staff, volunteers in your program, form the foundation of your business success for several important reasons. They experience your services firsthand, and that gives them some valuable insight into what's working and what could be improved. They're also investing their time, their trust, and their resources in your program. So that's making their perspectives particularly invaluable. The next step is taking a comprehensive look at your business performance and feedback, and then writing a basic list of what is working well versus what you need to improve. Again, this doesn't have to be pages and pages. To perform the basic assessment, you're going to need some data to rely on. The first is going to be that feedback from your families, your volunteers, and your staff. The other is going to be your business financials, excuse me, including a monthly budget and maybe a 12-month cash flow. Those tools are going to allow you to know what financial demands there are. Remember, you want to be realistic on both for better planning. We recommend that you first look at the feedback you got from your families, volunteers, and staff, and then review your financials and answer some really simple questions, okay? Here's the first. What do the families like most? What do they like the least? What do staff like the most? What do they like the least? If you use volunteers, same question. What do they like? What don't they like? When you look at your financials, are you going to be profitable? Are you going to make money by the end of the year? So when looking at your enrollment forecast, are there any months where you're worried because student enrollment will be down? Are you going to have several children aging out of care? Okay, so by answering those questions, you're not only helping to create your plan for the year, but you're also creating talking points to use as you run your business throughout the year. As you continue to assess your current situation, some additional questions you may want to ask are, what is going to keep me profitable throughout the year? Do you need more children enrolled mid-year? Looking ahead, how many slots are you going to need to fill? Will some children exit for kindergarten? Do you have a growing wait list? If you're anticipating growth or are at capacity, do you want to consider expanding your business? Then what do parents want? What do they need? And how will you adjust your program services to meet those needs? Are there ways that you can easily meet those needs? Perhaps families want hours that run a little bit later, and you can shift your hours accordingly. Maybe they want a certain service or opportunity. Then you have to consider your staff. What about them? Do they report wanting additional pay or benefits? Are you having any trouble finding staff? Again, asking these questions and then reflecting on the answer is going to prepare you for the next step in building your business plan. Okay, once you've assessed your current situation, you're going to want to perform an analysis of your strengths, your weaknesses, what opportunities you might have, and what are a threat to your business. This is a simple yet very effective way to categorize ideas. Through the SWOT analysis, you're going to divide your data into 4 quadrants, whether whether a factor is positive or negative, and whether it is about the present or the future. The strengths and weaknesses are the company's current positive and negative characteristics. The opportunities and threats are potential future factors that are going to either positively affect or negatively hinder the impact and growth. If you have employees, performing a SWOT analysis as a team is going to be the most effective. If you're a family childcare provider without employees, consider a conversation with a friend or a colleague that you trust who knows your business well. You can use a whiteboard or a large piece of paper that's going to allow your team to collect and visualize the ideas. So take your whiteboard or paper, divide it into 4 boxes labeled strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. The goal of this activity is to have a clear vision in each of the areas and to use this insight as you build your business plan. Begin your analysis by engaging every member of your team in the process. Each person should write down several statements that will reflect their perspectives on your business's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Encourage your team to write each idea on a separate sticky note, which can then be placed on a board divided into the 4 categories. To help your team understand what belongs in each category, consider these examples from the childcare field. A strength statement might recognize that our business is open for more hours than the competition, and that highlights a competitive advantage. When examining weaknesses, your team might identify that, we have some issues with staff turnover, and that's acknowledging an internal challenge that needs addressing. Looking at opportunities, someone might note that, we have room for increased enrollment, pointing to that potential for growth. And then for threats, a team member might observe that, hey, there's a business opening nearby, identifying external challenges to your success. After all the team members have posted their statements, gather as a group to discuss which observations are most significant for your business. This collaborative decision helps identify the truly impactful factors that deserve your attention. The statements your team agrees are most relevant is going to provide valuable insights into your organization's current position, and that's going to help you focus your efforts as you develop the next sections of your business plan. Okay, the last step is going to be building out that plan. We're going to take you step by step through the process. So starting with reviewing the past year and examining how the year might go. From this, you're going to find goals to understand, to undertake, to maintain or strengthen your business. Okay. So outside of you stating your value proposition, here are the suggested components of your business plan. Your customers, okay? Understand what you want to do to support them for the year. You're going to look at your team or volunteers, the staff. Understanding how you can attract and retain staff, volunteers to keep your program going. What is the market? Competitors, those are competitors, other external factors that are going to impact your goals. You're going to look at your finances. A financial forecast is something that you should have where that gives you an idea of where you're headed financially during the year and what it will take to get there. Like a level, such as a level of enrollment. And then you want to have your SMART goals, which holds you accountable. You're going to create some goals related to what you plan to undertake for the year. And you want to make sure that they are SMART, which means specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. VR can kind of stand for some different things, so we'll mention those as well. You want your goals to be reasonable and pared down as tightly as possible. Okay, so the business plan template should include 6 components and discuss in detail how each area plays a huge role in the business. The first, the value proposition, again, is your why. Next, how does your why relate to the families? And then what role does the staff play in all of it? Is this the market in your area? An area where you can be successful, and then how so? How are you going to be successful in that area? What is your financial plan? How are you going to plan to sustain operations over time? And then your goal tells the story of where you would like the childcare business to go and how you plan to achieve it. Okay, so now you're ready to use the plan template to build your plan. First, you've developed your value proposition, the why. Your value proposition explains why your childcare business exists and what makes it special. This goes beyond simply providing childcare. It's about your unique approach, your core belief, and the specific benefits you offer to your community. So think deeply about what drives you to serve families and how your program's values align with their needs. As you gather valuable feedback from your families and staff, you can insert it in a very simple sentence, such as I or we serve children and families in a certain neighborhood, whatever your neighborhood is. And we service between the ages of infants to 5 years of age. What our families and children love most is that we have non-traditional hours, because you're going to name a value or characteristic, or something, a few items that you feel are related to what you're doing. So this sentence is very simple, but it's not simplistic. Okay, this is going to give you the ability to remember throughout the year why the children and families chose you and why they love staying with you. This will not only help you to remember your program's value, but again, it will help you to reinforce why your program is special as you talk to potential customers and even as you talk to your staff to remind them of what they do. A successful childcare business must be committed and have a plan in place to attract and retain its customer base. This means that having a business plan that clearly articulates how your mission connects with the families you serve. This is where you state what you plan to do to support the families in the year ahead. And that's going to help you to sustain or even grow your business. So consider how your programs approach the philosophy, I can't tell, the philosophy and daily practices resonate with the parents' values and expectations. Explain how you'll build and maintain strong relationships with them while meeting their child care needs. This should be informed by the feedback you collected about what families like, what you can improve on. And so let's give you an example. You might say something like, based on the feedback we've collected, families are looking for these features. Or you might say, we are able to meet family needs because we have these features. You might say, we're located in a demand area or have many other families in this area. Or you might say, to further meet the needs of our families and maintain or increase program enrollment, our plan is to add or enhance these features. Your team is an integral part, I can't say those words, to your success. Therefore, a successful childcare business will be committed and have a plan in place to attract and retain the staff members and volunteers if applicable. So this section is where you're going to state what you plan to do to support the staff for the year in a way that allows you to sustain or even grow your business. You want to detail how you're going to recruit, how you're going to train and retain the quality staff members who share your vision. Describe how your staff will contribute to the program's mission and how you'll support the professional growth while maintaining the high standards of care. This should be informed by the feedback you collected about what staff like and what you can improve upon. Let's say you don't have any staff. That's okay. You should think about how you support yourself and what commitments you make to yourself every day that are going to help you sustain your business in the long run. A thorough understanding of your local market is also crucial. This is where you will enter your SWOT analysis and information that we talked about earlier. Clearly noting your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats allow you to plan with intention. You will also want to examine whether your chosen location can support your business model. You want to study the demographics, you want to study the competition, and also the community needs in your area. Um, you want to explain how all of those factors contribute to your potential for success and how you're going to position your program within that market. Your financial plan must outline clear strategies for long-term sustainability. That includes your annual budget and your 12-month cash flow analysis. And in that analysis, it's going to include detailed projections for your revenue and expenses, your pricing strategies, and plans for managing your cash flow. Describe how you'll maintain financial stability while delivering quality care and meeting your operational goals. Keep an eye on this throughout the year, and then make sure that your predictions are staying on target. If they are not, ensure you understand why and adjust accordingly. Your financial forecast should include any anticipated increases in enrollment and revenue. It should also reflect the staffing levels, the compensation for yourself and others if applicable, and then the benefits that you anticipate. Your goals are going to tell a story of your program's future and is the final section of your business plan. This section states what exactly you intend to do to improve or expand your business. Based on the information that you've gathered and assessed, and by what date, that will give your life, well, it'll give your plan some life. It's going to make it real, and it's going to let you know specifically what you'll need to do. So here is where you're going to outline the specific, the measurable objectives for where you want your childcare business to go, and it's going to create some clear actions for achieving them, including both your short-term milestones and your long-term aspirations. Along with these concrete steps for reaching the targets, you're going to choose to follow the SMART goal format on another simple tool. And there's three elements to that goal: the what, the how, and how you're going to know that it worked. What is the finish line? When have you met the goal? Both are simple formats that will keep you on track and accountable to get things done. Remember that these components are interconnected. Each one supports and strengthens the others in creating a sustainable, high-quality childcare program. Okay, so I've talked about SMART goals a few times already. So let's take a deeper dive into what these really are. When establishing goals for your childcare business, you must address those three fundamental questions that will guide you for success. First, clearly define what you want to accomplish with your program. Second, develop a detailed strategy for how you're going to achieve those objectives. And third, determine specific methods to measure and evaluate your progress towards these goals. So the most effective way to do that is through the SMART framework, which ensures your goals are well structured and achievable, as mentioned before. So SMART is an acronym, right? And so this is what SMART stands for. S stands for specific. It's your goal is clearly stated exactly on what you want to accomplish. Okay. The M stands for measurable. You can track and quantify your progress. Measurable, the M, the measurable part, it needs to be a number. It has to be either, months, a dollar amount. It has to be a number. Okay. Actionable. You have the power and resource to achieve the goal. Is this something that you can accomplish? Can you achieve this? Right? Actionable can also be interchanged with achievable. Is this something that you can do? The R also interchanges for either reasonable or relevant. When you're setting the goal, is it going to challenge? Does the challenges are they still attainable? Like, even though you're going through this, will you still be able to achieve the goal? And then you always want to do T, which is time bound or time limited. You're setting a clear deadline for achieving the goal. And I told you that finish line. When do you know that you've reached the goal? And let's just say that you used a number. Let's just say that you, excuse me, you wanted to reach a certain dollar amount um in 6 months. I want to reach $10,000 in 6 months. There's your measurable. So when you hit the 6 month deadline, right, and you only made $9,999, did you meet your goal? You were $1 off, right? So that's how you're going to measure whether or not you've reached your goal. Okay, within the 6 months. So, for example, another example, rather than setting a vague goal like improve enrollment, a SMART goal would state, I want to increase enrollment by 6 children within the next 3 months by implementing a parent referral program and hosting 2 community open houses. You see how it has numbers, it has, and if you didn't do the 2 community open houses, if you only got 5 children, it took you 6 months instead of 3, there you're understanding that you need to go back and revisit your goal. By incorporating these elements into your goal setting process, you significantly increase your likelihood of success. So this structured approach helps transform your aspirations into concrete achievements for your child care business. And I also want to add an ER for a smarter goal, and it's really not in this, but ER, as an acronym, E stands for evaluate and R stands for revision. So if you're not meeting the goal, like I mentioned, you can always go back and evaluate and revise to make it a smarter goal. Okay, so that's just something you can think about. Okay, now we can use all the information that we've gathered to start building the plan. So utilization of all this information is essential in the overall functions of your business. From this, you're going to be able to make better choices, make better decisions. You can iron out all the kinks, you can avoid mistakes, improve your viability, and and this is going to provide you with the guide you need to successfully grow your childcare business. All right, so the introduction and your value proposition. Your introduction identifies the specific communities you serve and the age groups you work with. So this section also highlights the unique characteristic that makes your program special to the families and their children. Okay, so this is going to be that opening statement, the attention getter for your business plan. Okay. Okay, so the next part is going to focus on your families based on the collected feedback. This section outlines what your families are seeking in your childcare services. We want all this information. Now you're going to put what you have here. It describes how your program currently meets these needs and then presents your plans for program enhancements that are going to maintain or increase your enrollment. Okay. Then you're going to include the staff portion. So this component examines what your staff values most in their work environment. It describes your current strategies for meeting staff needs and then outlines specific plans for staff retention and recruitment that align with your enrollment goals. Okay, and this is what it's going to look like. Okay, and then you're going to come back down to your SWOT analysis, and this is your market analysis. So this is going to provide that clear picture of your business's current position. This is a structured evaluation, and what this does is that it examines your internal strengths and weaknesses alongside with the external opportunities, and again, mentioning those threats. Okay, And then financial section is going to present the budget and the 12-month cash flow analysis. Okay, and these documents provide the comprehensive view of your business financial health and projected operations. So, are you going to have the financial health to help you achieve the goals, any challenges, any threats to overcome? All of that, this is where you're going to have the information to support you. Then the final, or not the final part, but the part, your strategic goals. Your SMART goals outline specific targets for business improvement and growth. And then each goal follows the SMART framework to ensure that it's, again, specific, measurable, actionable, or achievable, reasonable or relevant, and time bound, time limited. Okay. So utilization of all that information again is essential to the overall functions of your business and serves as your operational guide. And that helps you to make informed decisions. It's going to also improve your visibility and it's going to maintain sustainable growth for your business. Okay. So here it is all over again, just a recap of all the items that we broke down. I'll give you just like a couple of minutes to make sure that you can see all this and see how it all ties it up. And to remember that we're recommending 1-page document for a smaller business. This is just going to be 1 page that you pull all of this information into that we have recommended. Okay. All right. So thanks for your attention today. So your dedication to work and your willingness to invest in your business's growth are truly commendable. But we're going to open this up to some questions and answers to address any questions you might have. So if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to come off chat and ask. If you have any ideas or thoughts, anything that you would like for me to go back over, let me know. We can do that now. Any questions? Miss Lisa, Miss Callie, Cindy, do y'all have any ideas? Anything? May I ask why you might have chosen this particular webinar? Is this something that you're trying to implement? Maybe you can help each other out as to any ideas or thoughts about what you're trying to do with the information.
Hi, Melinda. Thank
Hi.
you. I'm Kaylee. Nice to meet you. Thank you for
Nice to
your
meet you.
time giving this presentation. Um, I don't have any questions. I'm actually looking to get into the childcare business. So, trying to make a business plan for the first time. I know that this is specifically geared for existing childcare centers, but I think I got some good nuggets to be able to have just some specific questions to reflect on and guide me as I try to put a plan together.
Absolutely. Having a business plan, that's going to help you to take that step forward. So you may not have some of the goals that we or the information that we talked about, but when you start to think about that and you start to think about what would I like to have, that's where you can kind of the sky's the limit. And then when you start to plan financially, that gives you an idea. Okay, well, especially with financially, right? Because if you say, "Oh, I want to have a 10-room center that has 100 kids or whatever," and then you start to look at your goals and starting to set those up, then you're like, okay, well, how am I going to cover this, right? And so how am I going to fund for this? So having that plan also goes when you go in to talk to somebody about funding, they see that you've thought this out. I'm like I've considered all this stuff. I know what I can do. I know, I'll start small and then I can go from there. And a lot of times, as you know, I'm a small business owner myself, going in and having that um, initial uh, page of information to share, to know that's valuable. The other thing, you think about a mission statement, right? Like, what's my mission? What do I want to accomplish? And I really think that understanding your value proposition is the main, like I said, it's a main thing they're going to see. That's your opening line. That's your look at me, right? Um, and so those have to be really well thought out, very well crafted, um, because you don't want to lose them after the first paragraph, right? So those are the thoughts that that hopefully are helpful. It doesn't matter if you're starting. We need childcare, businesses. We need more in the field. So I'm excited that you are interested in coming into the field. And so anything we can do to help you get that information, I hope that this was helpful in that area at least.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I think it's a great point what you said about uh you get an idea of I want to have a center like this or a center like that, and then you go through your goals and you see try to play it out and you see okay, maybe that's not realistic, or and that's kind of where I'm stuck at. I feel like I almost don't really know where to start because so much is dependent on other things, like if I try to make a financial plan, but then I'm seeing, okay, this doesn't work out, so I need to change this goal, or I have this goal, but it's not working out in this way. So it feels like you
Right.
can kind of get stuck in circles, just everything's so dependent on each factor and each variable. So you have to like pin down those variables first in order to be able to really get the business plan squared away. So yeah, I think that's just some good points just of how to like gather that information first so that you're building your plan off of something that's already been thought through.
Really quick, are you considering a family childcare or are you considering a center?
A center.
A center, yeah. And so I think like the main you can always start off with a SMART goal. I really, really do like the SMART goal approach. So whatever you think, like, oh, I want to have you know, a 5-room center. I want,
Mhm.
in a year, I want to open this up in a year. And I really think that if you start even with that goal, and remember, you can always make it a smarter goal,
Mm,
to where you can evaluate and revise, and like, okay, now that I've done the financials on this, I found a funder. I went to a bank and they're gonna give me this much. Okay, well, then I'm gonna have to revise this. Maybe I can't do 5, maybe I can do 3 rooms, right? I just remember doing that too, like when I first started in the field, that I was like, I wanted to go into the public school system. And I remember I wanted to teach kindergarten. And then I remember setting up my classroom and then realizing like that's not really gonna work out. So you have to go back. And
mm,
gone through the field. I've been a director and I've been a center, I personally give props to all of you that run centers and have centers of your own because that is the big undertaking and it's a need. But I've always been like, kind of fearful of it. So everybody that wants to do it, I give you props, and
mm,
hopefully that will, you know, this information is going to give you the first steps that you need. So,
definitely. Yeah.
um,
Well, it
yeah,
sounds like
so
you have a lot of hands-on experience and just firsthand experience in this childcare setting.
yeah, I've done teaching, I've done center-based, I've recently started coaching for family childcares. And
Mm,
so even like a family childcare, a lot of people start there, because
mhm,
it kind of gives you an idea. So, but you're doing it in your home. And then
mm,
you expand it from there. A lot of them start there and then open up into a center. Because they
mm.
kind of get a feel for it. I have one room and I have to only worry about this. And then I'm like, okay, now if I could go to the next level, then that's what, that's helpful as well too. So plus you're starting to build your financial part and where you can bootstrap, pay for your own instead of having to reach out for funding, that kind
Mhm.
of thing.
Definitely, yeah. Something I've been trying to get a better idea of with creating a financial plan is trying to figure out more of like kind of like some price points about like how much to budget for each child, or like how much should you budget per staff. And I mean, of course, now with AI and ChatGPT, you can find so much information online, but at the end of the day, I'm always left questioning, like, is this accurate? How accurate is this? I'm just wondering if you have any sort of resources that can give me a better idea of, like, in the Glenwood area, Garfield County area, what what expenses can centers expect to see, like any specific figures.
Okay, so I will give you a couple of keywords because you said you would use AI, right?
Uh-huh.
I'll give you a couple of keywords that might be helpful when you're looking for how to basically calculate your cost of care. And
Okay.
that those are the keywords. Calculating cost of care in Glenwood. Okay, so
Uh,
you can say for a calculator, something that's going to help you kind of like a template. And so
mhm.
what you would want to do is, you're going to do some market evaluation, right? And figure out what the market is in your area. And you can even like maybe when you figure out what the competitors are doing, say for instance, like, oh, we charge and only for a round number, right? We
Yeah.
charge $100 per child, right? Okay, let me take their number. Okay, and so if I want to provide, let's say you want to serve organic meals, right? Because that's going to be one of your selling points, that I feed them organic meals. Okay, great. Well, then in that $100, how much can I go to cover my food, cover my child, the
Mhm.
space, cover how much it's going to cost for my staff. So that $100, you break it down, and then you see a point. Or like, oh, well, you know what? Maybe organic is a little bit much. Maybe let me see if I can do the regular food first, or again, the compensation level.
Mhm.
You have to look at the compensation level. Am I going to pay, am I going to request a teacher with a degree to work? Well, if you do that, then you're going to have to pay them what they're worth, right? Or
Mhm.
this is so sad, and we never want to do this in childcare. We don't want a warm body, right? We don't want
Mhm.
just anybody coming into the center. You
Mhm.
never know, what they could do. That could be a real big risk, right? So
Yeah.
you want to make sure that you're going to be reasonable to attract some quality staff. So
Mhm.
that's just look for that quality care tool or cost of care tool
Mhm.
that can help you do that, where you can put in your numbers and then it breaks it down for you. We do have, and I'll go ahead and share this now. Um, if you have some more questions about this, and we might have some resources, that, if you want, you can always ask the expert on the Tom Copeland blog, which is what we manage. So if we don't get a chance to answer the questions here, which we're trying to figure out, you can find about 1,500 helpful resources, and then so there's the QR code as well. So you might be able to find a tool there that can help you with the cost of care. Um, that's one. And then you can also visit our YouTube channels. These are really like some really good resources where as we've done some of the work across the country, and other set webinars and stuff like that, this is where we collect that information. Like even this video will be on the YouTube channel. So you can go back and reference it. And then that might have some resources that could be valuable to you in your business or in getting started. Okay, so there's the one for Spanish, and let me see here. And so, yeah, so there might be some information, some resources there. If not, you can always ask the experts. Go in there and say, hey, listen, I have this question. Can you provide me a tool or, whatever? And somebody will get back to you and